Hello, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Oh, okay. I'll talk.
No, like, subscribe, comment.
We love you.
We love you. Thank you for all
You're
your
okay.
Spotify raps if you're watching this.
They're on YouTube.
They're on YouTube.
Well, but they might also listen to it, too.
Why would they? They're watching on YouTube.
Maybe
Thank
they
you.
listen
No,
and
no,
watch.
like-
We need a
Subscribe.
YouTube rap.
Okay, thank you for everybody who's watched us and listened to us this year.
Comment your favorite bet of the weekend.
Why are you doing? And 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah, claps.
Makes it harder for him, but whatever.
There'll just be 3 little spikes.
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Well, it's 3 little spikes, and then after the last one, it's like
What happened? What happened?
I might clap every.
He clapped for that one. I clapped for this one. Then he clapped again.
Oh.
He has a clap.
Avoid the clap. Jimmy Dugan. It was a league of their own.
I know that movie.
Fine movie. Dottie dropped the ball on purpose.
She did.
Yeah.
And
I know.
people-
We've said this on
People
many
that
times.
think she didn't are crazy.
Or idiots.
Yeah, I mean.
Idiots or
obviously-
Rico Bosco. Or the same person. Same thing.
Damn.
Feathers
Rico taking
everywhere.
shots right off the top, huh?
Did he come in today?
Feathers
It's
everywhere.
why would he come in on a Thursday?
He was working till like 9 p.m. last night.
Oh,
so.
my goodness.
what?
Not 9
He
p.m.
recorded like 7:30 p.m.
Jeez.
I will say he got off very easy. There was
Oh.
a few details that were missed.
He recorded Barstool's second most popular college football podcast.
Correct.
Okay, so how are you guys doing?
Just let him have it.
Where
Just let him have
are
it.
you at?
I just don't want to say false things. That's a pretty popular show.
Where are you at?
What do
You
you mean?
on this show or are you on another show?
What are you talking about?
I'm just making
He's talking soccer.
no, he's making
Oh.
faces behind my back when I say obviously in jest. Jesus, are you on this team or not?
I am. I always have been.
Bad time to
So
clear
what
the
if
throat.
troops call right now and said, "Oh, extra time penalty kicks, you got to run back in there and do soccer"?
If USA was playing, yes. Just like if
Well, I like college football.
Mojo Rowley walked in here, we'd have to stop this whole fucking thing.
But
so.
first, no, you're gonna have to do a better wrestler than that.
I
Not
know, I
Mojo
know.
Rawley. He ain't stopping things.
One
I'd
every
like it
4
on
years.
record that I would only leave if I was going into labor.
Or if Tom Brady walked in. Or
Oh,
Machine
well,
Gun
yeah.
Kelly.
Matthew
or,
McConaughey walks
yeah,
through
yeah,
and says,
never
"I'm looking
mind.
for a pregnant broad."
or Justin Bieber. So those 4 or labor.
Or if there was the college football
Machine
show
Gun
or
Kelly,
the pro
Tom
football
Brady.
football show or
Machine Gun Kelly, Tom Brady, Matthew McConaughey, Justin Bieber,
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, Joe Burrow.
Probably Joe Burrow. There's a
I would follow Casey out for
there's
Joe
a
Burrow.
much longer list, I feel like, than we're giving myself credit for. However,
Anyone would do that. That's
we're
not
all
just
here.
a you thing.
I mean, what if Kate Upton walked in here? What would you do?
Nothing.
You'd pass out.
Nothing. First of all, I'm married. Okay?
What if Sydney Sweeney walked in here?
No, Kate
Too
Upton's his
young,
number one.
Too
yeah.
young. Too young.
What about her
Also,
boobs?
If her boobs walked in here by themselves, I would be shocked and impressed.
If Kate Upton was in here, he'd be so nervous he'd pass out. He did get to meet somebody yesterday that he didn't realize he was meeting in real time.
Oh, Gronk's
And
girl,
after
Camille
the
Kostic.
fact, I introduced him to Camille, and she gave me a hug, and I was like, "This is Brandon." Then she walked by, and he was like, "Wait, that's Gronk's
Aw.
girlfriend." And I was like, "Yeah, I just introduced you," and he was like, "Oh, okay, all right."
Yeah.
I'm pissed. I didn't see her.
I talked
And
to her
I'm
for
a
like an
straight
hour.
female.
Didn't you come into the kitchen when I was talking to her?
I must not have processed that it was her. But everyone.
She had like one of these on, and she was covered up a little bit.
I would not have known. I saw another account here post her. I would not have known otherwise that she was in the office.
What if we talked college football on the
I'm
show?
okay with that. Yeah,
Not
yeah,
boobs.
Would that be
yeah.
weird?
Boobs
Well,
in
we
college
talk boobs if you
football.
want.
It's a similar. The Venn diagram of the fans are
Yeah, careful. Jesus.
very similar.
All right.
Can I also say something?
Sure.
It's about college football. It's also about
Go.
this. It's about this
Go.
very podcast.
Go.
It did not truly hit me how crazy the segment was on Tuesday's episode from The Note until I rewatched what Noah clipped. How long it took me to realize
Both of us.
that Noah is a criminal. I know in the moment we recognized it, but if you go back and listen to it
Yeah,
or
you
watch,
accused me.
I did accuse you.
Yeah.
Well,
That's fair.
It's a compliment.
you weren't here, and I knew Katie couldn't lie.
I
knew
can't
she
laugh
can't lie.
like to the face now.
Noah, I didn't know was so devious. I should have known better. So, and Jack, I know that you're a little bit devious. However, in the moment, it felt like it happened much faster. There was a lot of for lack of better terms, pregnant pauses.
No,
in
there
that.
was a moment that you were on board to believe this thing.
Whenever I was like, oh, I figured it out, and I turned it over and I was like, oh, very funny moment. I know I've said this off air. I think that episode we missed Jack a lot, but I think it was one of our best we've had in a long time. There were some
All I know
top
is
unnecessary
this.
roughness moments.
I will make you a promise right now.
Okay.
Here's my promise to you. I will use Noah's cunning and willingness to be criminal to my advantage on this show.
But
That
now
will
we know.
happen.
Now we know.
You won't know. You knew this, but you got convinced pretty quick that you thought you knew, but then you were like, oh, I don't know.
I was very quick to blame somebody other
I
than
am
Noah.
going to use that young man over there for my gain, and it's going to be possibly felonious.
Well,
I'll sell my services to the highest bidder.
There you
Ooh.
go. See? All right. So he's
Christmas
going to Auburn.
Christmas. I can't even speak. Christmas is coming up.
Christmas.
I thought that was a good
Merry
joke.
Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Chrysler.
So he's going to Auburn.
Christmas.
Anyway.
Christmas.
It's
Anyways, if you
Christmas.
haven't watched or listened to Tuesday's episode, you should, because Brandon had 2 all-time unnecessary roughness moments.
Did I? What
Well,
was the second one?
The boobs.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Uh-oh. That means it can't be that good.
Anyway, let's go. Hello and welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. High Noon Hard Seltzer. It is the best drink on the market. They've got I'm looking at the tailgate pack right now. They got the black cherry, the pear, the cranberry, the grapefruit. They've got them all. I love them. It's delicious. They also have terrific flavors like peach, pineapple,
Yep.
watermelon,
Yep.
lime,
Yep.
lemon,
Yep.
passion fruit,
Yep.
guava,
Yep.
kiwi.
One of the
Yep.
bars by my parents' house
Okay,
in
I was
upstate.
done saying flavors.
Yes, you were.
I was done.
Upstate finally got High Noon. They have the biggest beer list I've ever seen. I started reading it, saw High Noon, stopped reading. This is the first time I ever had it, and I got the last can that they had.
Really?
They're
They
that popular.
already sold out. They said we got it early this week. It took them less than a week to sell out entirely.
What flavor did you get?
I honestly forget. I was like, I
She'd
asked them.
had a few.
No, I asked one. I was like, I said, I don't care. They said, do you care what happens? I was like, grab the first one you have. I like them all.
College football is the best sport in America, and High Noon is the best drink in America. You've seen them at tailgates, at bars, everywhere.
And it's officially holiday party season, Brandon. You
Yep.
know,
Yes, it is.
It's December 1st right now. So, you're supposed to bring a bottle of something, a little whatever you are going to be doing. If you bring a High Noon pack with you, you'll be popular.
You will be
Yes.
popular indeed.
Do we think, so we just got a huge shipment of High Noon. Do we think that that's going to last the holiday party
No.
next week?
No.
Oh,
no, I don't.
no.
I don't think
I
we'll
don't
make it
even
to the
know if
holiday
it'll
party.
last. Yeah, if it'll last to see that day.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
well.
I don't know.
Touche.
I don't know. People
There's
steal
so
them.
many.
People
No, there's
steal
so
them.
many.
Late December,
I am people.
63.
Oh, what a night. Listening to Unnecessary Roughness on a Tuesday night. You listen
I
to...
don't know what's happening.
What's happening?
What's another podcast? Pick 'em
I don't
because you're
think there are any good
fucking
ones.
shy.
All right, so it is. It is
You listen
unnecessary.
to The Athletic because you're fucking shy.
It is
I liked that, Jack. That was
unnecessary
pretty.
roughness,
It is.
and we're talking college football.
We should say thank you to everybody
Why?
because we got a lot of Spotify
Yes,
Wrapped
thank you.
tweets
We did.
and
We really did.
Instagrams.
We really
I
did.
don't know if it happened
So
on
I sent
TikTok
all
or
of
not.
Huh?
I sent what you asked for.
Yeah, and they didn't send it to. We didn't get that, did we?
No, I
Brandon,
sent...
they
It's in the
sent
group
it to
chat.
us. We
I didn't
saw
see it.
Read the group
they
chat.
Did, wait a
We
second. No, they did not send it to us. Brandon asked
Yeah.
for somebody to go and get it.
Yeah.
And then I asked, who should I ask? Katie said, Kyle Levy, and I went and got it. So there's my commitment to the podcast.
But I thought he said we only get those for the top podcast.
Well,
And then got
But
the
then
we
medal.
are-
I sent 10 photos in the group chat this morning.
I don't.
But we're
be
not
reading
supposed
it.
to share them.
Why not?
Because
I don't know, but you wanna-
Spotify
hey,
doesn't pay us to share them.
but
It's
look
free
at this.
advertisement for Spotify.
Your podcast was.
Nope, you're not.
I can say that.
You can say that.
Oh,
You
okay,
can
I
okay.
can say
Oh, okay,
that.
okay.
On Spotify, it says your podcast was in the top 5% most shared globally. That
Pretty
sounds
good.
pretty good.
Look at this one. You ready?
Yeah. You're in the top 1% of most followed podcasts. Now, why in the hell can't we put that out? That's crazy.
You-
This was advertising for us. Everybody's doing the
you know what?
Spotify rap.
If you do it, actually do it.
I'm going to do it.
And the person that get mad would be Gaz. You can just tell him to fuck
Yes.
off. Yeah.
Yes, get mad at me, Brandon Walker.
Me too. Fuck you, Paul. Fuck you.
I thought all the 1% stuff was great, but the best was
What's he going to do? Complain to a waitress at 11 on
The amount of
3 a.m. on Friday?
The amount of new subscribers. in the
yeah,
past year.
we saw a lot of gains this year. 46% new follow. No, stop.
I just wanna
It's
read
in your
It's right here.
phone.
Look right here.
59% of our listeners on Spotify discovered us in 2022, which means a lot of you are new, and we just want to say thank you, and hopefully you've been here the whole year. If not, you'll come back for the full year next year.
We're up 46% on listeners, 46% on followers.
And that's just on Spotify.
That's just on Spotify.
That's just
God,
on Spotify.
We're just great.
You know what?
So
we
I
really
just
are.
Thank you.
And so are the
Yeah, so
listeners.
thank
You're
you.
welcome, Jack. Thank you.
Oh.
He was thanking the heart and soul of the podcast.
No, I think he was thanking the
listeners.
The
listeners.
listeners.
And
Oh,
But I do thank you two,
For-
and Katie, and
thank,
Noah.
thank you to everybody. Also,
you realize Noah's sitting over there like this.
No, I said
Noah,
thank you,
thank you,
Noah.
Noah.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, Noah's sitting over there like, sounds like you guys got a new producer and things went.
No, that's good. He should say that to his boss and everything. 100%.
he absolutely should. Also, I listen to my podcast when I do listen to them on Apple. Why is Apple not doing what Spotify is doing?
I don't know.
Because Spotify, I mean, I use Spotify for all my music. I don't know why I do the difference. I guess I don't want to pay for both Spotify and Apple Music. But when Spotify Wrapped comes out,
Yeah.
everyone freaks out about it. I love to see what people do. I know some people are like, we don't want to see what you listen to. I personally am very entertained by it. But the fact that Spotify is the number one thing that we're talking about right now, it's the number one like listener platform.
My kids ruined my my Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah.
So my most listened to artist is like a 13-year-old boy that makes mixes of video game themes.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Yep.
There's some people who have like fan noises or white noise.
I have a bedtime
Top.
I have a bedtime fan app that I use for that.
I bet you could at least guess 2 of my top 3.
Bieber.
Artist or songs?
Oh, Machine Gun
Artists.
Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly,
I'm
Bieber.
in the top 0.01% of Machine Gun
Yeah,
Kelly.
you should be on a list.
I should be definitely on a list. I did the math. You know, they put out the minutes. I did the
Yes.
math on how many days I've listened to Machine Gun Kelly.
This year?
It's not. It's a very humbling moment. I saw people are like, oh, like I've spent X amount of days listening to Unnecessary Roughness or Pardon My Take or whatever. It's like, that's at least something new every
Right.
time.
Yeah. This is just songs.
That's impressive. I thought
Poorly made songs.
I was
by
top
a
5% of
mediocre
Kid
artist.
Cudi, and that's much more. You're like 0.01.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't even like so people I've seen mostly like 2%.
Yes, Brandon, we'll move on.
Nothing.
We'll move on.
I don't know.
He's making faces.
What happened?
0.01% of
That's
listeners.
crazy.
Pretty good.
That's crazy. And imagine if he was good.
Whatever. I don't really care what your opinion
Oh,
is.
what a night.
But anyways, thank you to everybody who's listened. And if you're listening and you haven't at least subscribed to the YouTube, Jack, they don't have to
Subscribe,
watch
like.
us. They don't have to watch us. Most people listen to us, by the way.
I'd like for him to watch us.
But no, I'm saying if we
You can
at
do
least go,
both.
yeah, you can do both.
If you're listening to the podcast right now, Casey's topless.
And they're pregnant, folks.
If you're watching on YouTube, you know I'm lying. That's okay.
It is crazy how many more people listen than watch. But if those people that listen just went and just clicked the subscribe button, it would help us out.
We are going to start. Every show is going to have a wheel now from now on because of the yak. We're going to start a topless wheel on the show, and one we're going to spin it, and one person
does
has to do
seem
the whole
like it.
show topless.
Everything has a wheel now.
Yes, wheels are everywhere.
And I don't know what the percentage of 2 out of 5 is, but
It's 40.
It's going to happen.
me and Katie.
All right.
I have a computer I can hide behind.
College football.
I'll just breastfeed on the podcast.
College football. Disgusting. I think the biggest news of the week, of course, we're going to get to the conference championship games. You have your Pac-12 championship game Friday night. You have your Big 12 championship game at noon on Saturday, and SEC, ACC, Big 10. All of that is coming up this weekend, and we're going to talk about that. Little podcast news. Sunday, they'll release the actual playoff at noon on Sunday. So we're not going to have a Saturday night reaction podcast. We're, in fact, going to wait until that happens, and we will have everything baked into that reaction podcast. So you'll probably look for that around 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
It will be very status quo if the conference championship goes as we hope they go, because we said it on Tuesday when we got in a very healthy, heated debate about the playoff.
I've changed.
Wait, you don't.
While it would be clean and for TCU and USC to win and not have to worry about it, the chaos that would ensue from TCU and USC losing or TCU or USC losing is too much to pass up.
The chaos would be phenomenal, but from a team standpoint, you've changed from that too? Because I thought we all.
I had a vision in my head last night.
Yeah.
Vision.
Imagine Imagine TCU or USC lose.
Okay.
Ohio State gets in.
Okay.
Michigan kills TCU or USC.
Okay.
Ohio State squeaks by Georgia. Just imagine a world where Michigan Ohio State rematches the national title game.
Hi.
I feel like
Did we not have this like speculation? And I said I would love a Michigan State, Ohio. Yeah, that one.
Either one.
Michigan, Ohio State. Yeah, you
Yeah.
did, and I said
I
I feel like I know what's going to happen again.
You wouldn't though. That's the thing.
But I believe that it would be the same way that I just watched the two of those teams play.
That's that. I hate. We're not going to get into this debate, but I hate when people say that, and I hate when you say that. Like, it is true that Alabama and Georgia played in the SEC title game
definitely.
last year, and it was 3 touchdowns. Then went 3 touchdowns the other way.
But I just think Michigan is a different animal versus Ohio State than Georgia was against Alabama. Again, we talked about this in depth on Tuesday. I am with you that I think the chaos would be very fun to watch on Sunday because you know that ESPN as a whole just loves to drag that shit out. God, it takes forever for them to unveil it. The only time I'm okay with the dragging out is the upcoming Sunday show because I like the drama surrounding it. If USC and TCU both win, those are the 4 teams I want to see in the playoff, but we wouldn't have any drama. There would be no drama leading up to the unveiling of what's going to happen on New Year's Eve. So I see your point, but here's my question. In your vision, in your head,
Yeah.
what kind of chaos are you really hoping to see? Are you
I don't
hoping
know.
for both to lose?
I'm open to anything. I'm open to anything. I don't know that I'm hoping for both to lose. I'm just wide open. But I mean, I see 3 possible scenarios. The playoff is as it is. USC drops out and the first 3 go in, or pure chaos. TCU and USC both lose, and then you might have the Big Ten SEC Invitational, but that needs a lot of things to happen.
Well, and
TCU would have to lose by I think 3 or 4
That's-
touchdowns,
Say-
Are we
which is possible.
are we assuming that if TCU loses, they're out, or does it have to be a margin?
No,
It has to
no,
be a
no.
margin.
I think TCU, Georgia and Michigan, we know can lose this game and still be in. TCU, I think I would assign them 75% lose this game, still be in. They just can't get blown out. USC has to win. If they don't win, they can't get in.
if TCU loses in a close game, there's not even a question to me that they're in.
There's a question for sure.
No,
I don't think so.
Well, here's
I
the,
don't- I
is-
personally
the question
don't
is, are you coming from a standpoint of saying, if I were on the committee, there's no question, or this committee, there's no question? Because there's two different things.
If I was on the
Okay.
committee, and TCU, who has already beaten Kansas State in the regular season, is 12-0 going into the conference championship and loses a close game. They don't embarrass themselves. You know, it's not like the offense gets run out of the building. I would still put TCU in because I think that going undefeated in the regular season and losing to a team you've already beaten should play a factor. Now, do I think this committee is going to do that? I'm not sure. I do know that if TCU had an OU in front of it, they
Yeah.
would be in.
So-
if OU was in that position and they lost a close game, they would still be going to the playoff.
Oh, I disagree with that.
One thing about TCU is that if they were to lose this weekend, the committee might look at their schedule and say, you know what? They would have lost to Kansas State the first time if Kansas State didn't lose 2 quarterbacks in the middle of that game. If Kansas State didn't lose their backup quarterback when they were up 28-10.
Who played the rest of the game?
So I don't know. I think there's more of a question. I think TCU likely,
It's-
if they lose 3 to 7 points, probably stays in. It'll be nerve-wracking.
It'll be nerve-wracking, but because of what's behind everybody else, like I think that if you let's say USC wins, so USC is in. They avenge their loss to Utah. They're the Pac-12 championship, 1 loss, fine, they're in. If TCU loses a close game to Kansas State, and then your next options are Ohio State, who got their doors blown off, didn't win their division,
I don't
and then
think
Alabama.
that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem.
And then Alabama has 2 losses. I would, if I was on the committee, I'd still put TCU there.
Bama's out to me. Bama's out.
But
I'm not worried about
I'm
Bama.
saying in the hypothetical, where it's that's why I'm saying
Okay, but
as
here's
a
what
committee
you're
member,
not. Here's what. Yeah, these are human beings, and buddy, if they got there on Saturday or Sunday, and they had an option to have a playoff that had Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and USC,
Definitely.
4 massive brand names.
Oh, that's going to play into it for money purposes.
Yeah.
But if I'm going by just the teams I think deserve to be in it, I would put TCU there. And Jack, I'm just curious, why do you disagree that if it was OU?
I don't think it matters.
Oh, I think that those names definitely matter. To his point, that definitely matters.
Well, I mean, Ohio State's still a better team than TCU. They'd be favored over TCU. They're still rated as a better team in almost every power ranking and computer model out there. TCU, I don't think the brand names matter as much as the quality of the teams. If OU lost their Big 12 championship games that they won to get to the college football playoff, they wouldn't have been in.
But they weren't undefeated going into those.
Yeah, I know, but still,
I think brand names matter because to Brandon's point, Ohio State is a brand name that they would want to push
But they're a brand
into
name,
it.
but they're also an elite football team.
Yeah, that's where I side with Jack on this one thing. A lot of people are burying Ohio State way too hard for the way they lost to Michigan. They happen to share a division with the number 2 team in the country who is playing in the playoff. They happen to share a division. Other teams don't have to share a division with Michigan. So I don't really look at their 22-point loss and say, oh, this means Ohio State. This is a huge check mark against them. I don't really put it as a huge check mark against them.
We disagree on that, but I mean, where do you stand on what we're talking about with TCU? You don't think that if it was OU instead of TCU,
I don't
it would
think
matter?
names matter.
And not to kind of to ride the fence, but there's a world out there where the Big 12 really isn't very good. We don't really know yet. We don't really know at all. TCU has survived in the Big 12, but TCU doesn't really have this resume or the Big 12 pretty much all beat everybody, and there's nothing really to suggest the Big 12 is this good conference this year. We assume it is because they're there's no real terrible teams.
But that's a fine assumption. Again, if you go undefeated in your conference, you can only win the games that are placed in front of you. However, my personal opinion, I do think brand names matter with the 4 spots. Now, when the 12 playoff expansion happens,
arguing?
He's saying that TCU could be OU and it wouldn't matter, be the same thing. I think if OU was there, that plays into the committee's name.
Okay.
That's
we're bogged down on something that will come out in the wash on Sunday. There's a bigger story in college football than this playoff right here, even though this is in the moment and in the now. We found out that the Rose Bowl has in fact gotten out of the way. They got their antiquated, overrated ass out of the way, and we are going to get a 12-team playoff starting with the 2024 season. That means the 4-team playoff has this year and next year, and that's it. The college football playoff will expand its playoff from 4 to 12 teams in 2024. Jack.
So I'm probably the closest on this podcast to not agreeing with the playoff expanding, but I still am on the side of this is good. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how it looks. It's going to be fun, and I think college football will be completely fine. I do see some downsides, but I don't know if the downsides – there's always downsides to change. There was downsides to conference realignment. I think we're seeing positives. That will continue to change. There was downsides. I don't think as much to NIL, but there may be some downsides to NIL, and it seems like that's going great. There was downsides to the transfer portal. That's going great. So everything is looking really good for the playoff, and I'm excited to see how it looks in 2 years. These conference championship weekends that we're seeing right now, this weekend is not as great as years past. If there was 12 teams, it would be much better this weekend, at least in my opinion.
It absolutely would be.
Your thoughts?
I love it. And we've had this argument on the podcast. We've had it on the college football show, and it will continue. Unfortunately, for the people who are arguing that 12 teams is going to ruin the regular season, it's happening. So you either have to get on board with it or stop watching it. I don't know what the option is that you have. The thing to me is when we argue about the top 4 spots, there's not enough spots for even the Power 5 teams that win their own conference. Whether you think conference championships matter or not, there's not even 5. Then you have the at-large bid. Like if we're looking right now at the potential 12-team playoff for this season, number 12, Tulane. Like that would never, ever happen. Cincinnati happened last year, and it's going to take a long time for that to happen again if we stayed with 4. I love it because then you actually have a chance to let these teams play it out and decide who the actual best team in the country is. And right now, we assume it's Georgia or Michigan, wherever you stand. With 12 teams, who's to say that Alabama doesn't beat Utah in this said playoff and get to the point where they have to play Georgia and Nick Saban beats Kirby Smart again. We don't know that in a 12-team playoff we would.
I have 4 takes, and I'm going to go rapid fire. Number 1, college football has never, ever made a mistake expanding its postseason or playoff system, ever. 25 years ago, Michigan and Nebraska split a national title because we played in this archaic, stupid system where we didn't put them together in bowls. Nebraska went to one place, Michigan went to the other. They both finished undefeated, and they both won a national title. That was the dumbest thing that ever happened. The fact that it made it all the way to 97 is stupid. And the next year, we started the BCS. Tennessee played Florida State, and we actually started crowning a national champ. But then that had problems because you had undefeated Auburn get left out in 2004. So you go to a 4-team playoff, and it was exciting and good, and you're crowning a better champion. And now we're going to 12, and it opens up the whole thing. It's no longer just a pipe that's mounting with pressure. It is a 12-team playoff. What the 14 playoff is an exclusive club that every now and then has some trespassers, like Washington 2016, Cincinnati last year, TCU possibly this year. But mostly it is reserved. It is a neighborhood. It's a gated community of mansions for these big teams like Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, whoever can get in there. Now, with 12 seats at the table, you open everything up. You also take back December. Take back December. Right now, the season ends last Saturday, or Championship Saturday is the first Saturday in December, and we don't have anything else until January 1st that really, really matters. That's 4 fucking weeks that the NFL just gets to be the star. NBA takes Christmas Day. Now, December is going to matter in college football. This idea that the playoff, 12-team playoff, kills the regular season is the weakest, most beta idea I've ever heard in my fucking life.
How many times this year have you said that Michigan Ohio State have a 1-game season?
Last Saturday was Rivalry Saturday. 60 games. Over 60 games were played. How many of them mattered? 2. 2 mattered. It was USC Notre Dame, and it was
Ohio State, Michigan.
Thank you very much. Ohio State, Michigan. That's how many mattered. You're having these November, the week before that. How many games mattered? Hardly any. Okay? That's what happens when you have a 4-team playoff. With a 12-team playoff, you are expanding everything. The table gets bigger, and games with number 15 against number 12 in November are going to be life and death. This is better. This is better. This is better. Right now, the gap in college football between the first best team and the 5th best team is bigger than 20 to 50. And you're about to get rid of that because you're going to have this transfer portal. You're going to have players going everywhere, opportunity everywhere, playoff opportunity everywhere, TV opportunity everywhere. This is good. It opens the sport up. One more. Go ahead. You can respond.
No, I was going to say not only does it make these games matter more, because you're right, even late November, unless you are a team that is undefeated or has a decent 1 loss, you're out of the question. Think about the arguments that we've had many times now, especially over the last couple of weeks. Well, who's better, Ohio State or Alabama? Who's better, Tennessee before they lost to South Carolina or USC? We don't know. We're just guessing. We're going off of an opinion of what they've played in their own conference. Now the conversation of, well, Alabama has 2 losses, but they only lost by single digits both times. But Ohio State only has 1 loss, but they got killed. Put them both in. Let them both prove that they deserve to be one of those top 4 spots. Those arguments are now null and void because we actually get to see it play out on the field, as opposed to a bunch of us with differing opinions trying to fit a square into a circle hole.
This idea that people come back and say, oh, Alabama and Ohio State are just going to get in every year now. Well, they pretty much get in every year right now. They're not going to get. They potentially might not get in this year, but if you open it up to 12. And Alabama and Ohio State do get in every year, it's because they're good enough to get in every year. It's because it's a democratic process. They can get in every year. I don't think that's a bad thing. If Alabama loses 2 games in the regular season, finishes number 10, and then wins the playoff, well, that means they will have beaten number 7, and then number 2, and then number 1. So they will have earned that. It will be earned on the field. I don't understand if you love college football, and your main thing is because it has the best regular season in sports. That's a fine take. But why do you settle for the best regular season in sports while also accepting the worst postseason in sports? Because that's what college football has. 4 teams play games that matter. Everybody else opts out. Ohio State just told the Rose Bowl, don't take us. We don't want to come. That's the Rose Bowl. And
The
they
Rose
said,
Bowl.
we don't want to come. That's the postseason you have right now. It's the worst postseason in sports right now. So why not, even if you give a little bit of your regular season, which I don't think you're going to, give me a little bit of that, and let's have a good December and a good postseason, and let's bring college football into the world of sports with everybody else. Yes, Jack?
Also, you're still playing for buys. The buys are going to matter because if you think about it, at this point in the season, I mean, TCU's talked about it. Specifically, they had their bye like week 4 or 5. And they've talked about how this whole run that they've been on in the Big 12 has been like a juggernaut, and they wish they could have some time off. But this weekend, which in the Big 12 championship, let's say there was a 12-team playoff, yeah, they wouldn't be playing to be in the playoff, but they would be playing for a bye that would be very advantageous for them and other schools because health, specifically in football, really matters at the end of the year. And I think we forget how often just some time off for these guys are like massive, especially after a juggernaut of a schedule like the SEC. I know the Big 12 is not the SEC, but all these conferences, you still have to
they're still
show
getting
up
the
every
shit kicked
Saturday.
out of them.
Well, let me ask you this:
Physically.
What if Utah and you was playing USC this weekend, and Utah had a chance to get into a 12-team playoff? Doesn't that enhance the way they come into this game as opposed to
Absolutely.
just playing spoiler for USC? Same with Kansas State for TCU.
Another thing that is a very lame argument that's happening is, so you guys just want to see more blowouts. Like, that's what's going to happen if you expand the playoff. Again, looking at this potential, what this season would look like, you're telling me that you don't want to see number 8 Penn State versus number 9 Clemson? You think that's going to be a blowout? Number 6 Alabama versus number 11 Utah? Number 7 Tennessee versus number 10 Kansas State? If anybody can look at me with a serious face and say that those 3 games, I understand the Ohio State Tulane is not going to jump off the page to anybody, but the other 3 games that would be in the expanded playoff, those games don't scream blowouts to me. Those games do not scream, I wouldn't want to sit and watch that. I would watch the shit out of those 3 games. So I don't understand that logic. And guess what? They're going to be blowouts every single year, not just in college football. It's going to happen across the board. So why not give us more of an opportunity to see which team deserves to go up against the 4 teams that get buys?
That scene that Neyland Stadium had earlier this year against Alabama with the sunset and the goalpost. More college football is good. Can you imagine Neyland Stadium, second week of December, hosting number 10 Kansas State?
Oh, my God. No, that would be so awesome.
Imagine Beaver Stadium hosting Clemson next weekend.
So to the point of these people who are like, well, it weakens the regular season and you just want to see more shitty games in a playoff, those people just don't want to watch what you just laid out. Those people don't want to watch Utah and Alabama. Those people, I can't figure out what the argument is with that. And furthermore, to the point we've been saying all year, it's like, if you don't want to watch the games, then don't do it. You don't love college football then. You can love regular season football and then turn it off in the postseason if you're that mad about it.
Just to play devil's advocate, I do understand why some people may, like, if you don't love it, but like, I may love something, and if it changes, it stinks if it's gone. It's like if you have.
But if you love it, you don't want to see.
No, but
Penn
if you
State
love
Clemson
it,
game?
you love how it's structured now.
But the playoff has been here since 2014.
It's not even been 10 years.
It's not even in 4th grade yet.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But it's just telling someone, oh, you don't love it because they.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying if they're so mad about it, then don't watch these games.
But then-
my point is, if you love to watch these great games in the regular season, especially non-conference games, why would you not love a Penn State Clemson game that matters? Why would you not love a Kansas State Tennessee game that matters?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but from somebody's perspective that they love how it's structured now, and they don't want to see how it's going to change. Change could be difficult for them, and they have a sport that they love, and they don't want it to change. There is downside here, without a doubt.
Again, let me go back to my original point when you bring that up. I don't think college football has ever made a mistake when it expanded its playoff, when it changed its playoff, when it said the old bowl system isn't working, let's go to a BCS. That was positive. BCS isn't working, let's go to a playoff 4. That was positive, and I think this is smart. I think this is a smart change too.
Okay, yeah.
That's just what I think.
I agree. And I do understand. I don't think that it's going to be – I'm not saying that if you hate this, you don't love college football. What I'm saying is step back and look at what we're getting with it. And if you're that against change, which has only been for 8 years, by the way, if you're that against it, then it's not like you have to sit there and watch it. Then just wait for the top 4 teams. I just can't figure out why anybody wouldn't want those extra
I think a
games
lot
when
of
you
people who are
look at-
listening right now to us don't like this.
And that's my question. How, again, I can only use the teams that are in front of me for this year. How could you not love those games being played?
Because it takes away from how great Ohio State, Michigan was.
I don't think it does, and I'll tell you why. That's a fine viewpoint, just that game. The college football is built on a lot of things, and it's not just the structure of their regular season, and it's not just the chance to get into a playoff. That rivalry, Michigan-Ohio State, could have been for a sack of marbles on Saturday. It could have been for a sack of potatoes. It could have been for anything. You're not going to – it's built on passion. It's built on rivalry. It's built on hatred. And that is not going to take away from what happened on Saturday. That game would still be electric, still be awesome, still be great. And if, just in your mind's eye right now, picture a world where Michigan beats Ohio State, and then 3 weeks later they got to go again in the playoff. That doesn't take away from the rivalry of Michigan and Ohio State. That adds to the playoff. That adds to the postseason. That's taking this incredible chunk of the regular season, this immaculate, perfect game, and putting it over here, and now this is better too. This is still great. This is also good now.
Look at the Egg Bowl. The Egg Bowl is played for nothing this year, and it's
that wasn't a point that needed to be made.
Well, I'm saying that no matter what's on the line, a rivalry game like that is always going.
That wasn't a point that needed to be made.
No, yes, it is.
So
No, I know what you're saying, but
I'll
choose another game. Shit.
Okay, then I'll choose
UNC,
then I'll
NC
choose,
State.
Okay,
Yeah.
or A&M LSU. I mean, I know that's not anywhere near a heated rivalry. That's the one they're trying to push.
If your rivalry depends on someone making the playoff, then it's not a big enough rivalry.
Don't you believe that with the
hate your
expanded
rival, you wanna beat 'em.
playoff, carrying a rivalry into the playoff, like Alabama, Georgia, for example, they played for a national title twice in the last 5 years in the playoff. If they played in the regular season next year, that's still a massively gigantic game.
Yeah, yes, and that's true. The loss is, the importance of that game is diminished, though.
I think it's
Because you can lose it.
I think it's changed. You can lose it now, perhaps.
Yeah, because of divisions. But if they got rid of divisions and you lost it now.
No. Divisions are what hurts Ohio State right now. If Big Ten didn't have divisions,
I know, but
they'd be rematching right now.
It helped Alabama and Georgia if they play.
Yeah.
But I also think it takes away from upsets as well. The South Carolina win was amazing, but now it wouldn't have. It would have been cool, but it just would have been like, oh, a team that was supposed to lose won that weekend. It's very similar to the NFL.
Well, you're taking
college football and making it the NFL, which is what some people are saying.
Okay, well, let's go further with that thought. Okay, South Carolina came out of nowhere and beat Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say South Carolina hadn't lost quite as many. They've lost one less game than they had. Okay, they were like 5-3, and they weren't very good. All of a sudden, they beat Clemson and Tennessee back to back, and they finished so strong. What if they could get in the back half of this playoff, and all of a sudden you have one of the hottest teams in the country playing in a playoff? South Carolina would be the story then, not Tennessee.
Yeah, but then look at the playoff right now. Clemson's lost to 2 non-playoff teams in their end.
Okay, that's fine. So Clemson shows up to playoff. Penn State beats them. It is shown that Clemson is not a team that can compete for a national title. That's why we play the games.
And Penn State is
we
there.
We played the games, and we already knew that. Maybe that's more goes to show the ranking of Clemson.
Okay, we play the games, and that's why we knew that. But there are certain times we don't know things about teams. Like in a 12-team regular season, you play some conference teams aren't good. You play 4 non-conference games aren't good. We still don't really know about TCU. We might find out they're a hell of a lot better than we thought. We might find out that conference sucks. Mm-hmm. And through a 12-team playoff, we'll find that out a round earlier, and we'll whittle it down to the teams who do belong there.
And also,
in my opinion,
when you look at the arguments we've had with the Big Ten and the SEC, so you mentioned Clemson. Well, Penn State would be playing them in this scenario. Penn State's only 2 losses are to Michigan and Ohio State. So then we say, okay, well, how really good is the Big Ten outside of Michigan and Ohio State? We would find out, because if Penn State goes in and blows out Clemson, then it solidifies, okay, then beating Penn State every year is a much better win than sometimes we give it credit for. Also, just looking at this 14 playoff right now, who's better, Alabama or Ohio State?
Ohio State.
But if they played, we would know, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my point. It's like those are the types of games we would get in a expanded playoff where we actually can say
the sanctity
we know.
of the regular season.
Okay, good. I was going to ask you a question before you said that.
The sanctity of the regular season is you have to you play a playoff during the regular season. You have to win at least 11 of your 12 games. Maybe there's scenarios where you get in when you lose twice, but you have to win 11 of your 12, maybe even 12 of your 13 games or 11 of your 13 games to get into the playoff. That's every weekend. Now, Alabama loses. When they lost to Tennessee, it was like, oh my God, do they have a way to get back in? They did, but then they lose again, and then that brings it up. So
my
But
question,
it's only two
my
losses.
question then
There's not
becomes
more than two up there.
My question becomes:
Right?
if Alabama loses 2 to 3 games and falls to number 11, and then goes to the playoff and wins the playoff, why is that a bad thing? Because what you have done is you have proven Alabama was the best team. They had the potential. They were the national championship team. They went out and won it on the field. Why is that bad? Why is this idea, this old idea that, they lost in the regular season, so they can't ever play? Why? Why is this sport the only one that hangs on to that idea?
well, that's what makes it special.
That's what the reality is, and we call it special.
I don't know why that you can't mess up.
And
It's
there's
like-
so many things special about college football outside of this.
and that the rivalries will still be there, but it may change it from that. What else is special? The fan bases. I think
The
programs.
passion. I mean,
You don't storm the field in the NFL.
Yeah, well,
people
are they
don't-
going to storm the field now? Because
Yes.
Tennessee.
Yes.
But why does it matter if South Carolina beats Tennessee?
because people hate those. They hate schools as much. Like, that doesn't change. That doesn't. When it used to be 2, and then it expanded to 4 teams, people still storm the field. It's because you hate these rivals so much. But I also love the idea of, like, a team is hot. A team deserves a spot to prove that they are the hottest team at the end of the season. I don't understand why that's a bad thing.
Well, Bama's not hot.
Let's use an example. And it fell apart because they lost a couple games when he came back. But remember in September when Quinn Ewers went down and they lost by a point to Alabama, and then they lost another game with Hudson Card starting to Texas Tech, and then at that moment, let's say Quinn Ewers came back and led Texas to 8-0, and they finished 10-2, and they did not, they wouldn't get into a 4-team playoff. That team would be hell to deal with in the 12-team playoff. That team, are you going to punish a team for an injury? There are certain situations and things that come up that a 12-team playoff absorbs a hell of a lot better than a 4-team playoff absorbs.
100%.
Let's say Kansas State beats the shit out of TCU this weekend. I don't think that's going to happen. But let's say they do.
Then they
and-
shouldn't have lost to Tulane earlier in the season.
But they also have a completely different quarterback now.
Wait, but that's both the quarterbacks are healthy.
But since they lost to TCU,
Actually, I think the point you're making is good, but it's a little backwards. And I'll help you. Let's say TCU loses this game right here, right?
right?
And let's say they do fall out of the top 4.
They
Tell me
should-
a team that went 12-0 and lost their conference championship game doesn't deserve a chance to go back into that 12 team and win something?
I think they do, but I also think that if Kansas State beats the shit out of undefeated TCU, I'm not talking about in the top 4, but I'm talking about if they've figured it out in November and December, they should get a chance to at least go see if they can keep rolling. If they just beat TCU, who's been the darling of the season.
The biggest deal to me for this is right now, I make the country club analogy a lot, but it's an exclusive country club, and I really think when you have 12 spots, it's going to be better for college football. How much better is it that USC is in the mix and that the whole country is in the mix this year? And that's happening in a 14 playoff, but if you have 12 spots, 12 places in this country, 12 multiple regions that are represented here, I think that's a better.
And I don't
I
necessarily
think the blood
disagree
flows
with
through
you.
that sport better.
Yes, and I think
It doesn't
something
clog at the top.
I think something that I really agreed with, even though this was something that you said over the summer, and you used Michigan State, but let's just use another school just so I don't have to hate the opinion. If a school like Kansas State gets into the playoff 3 years in a row, but let's say they get blown out or lose a close one, but then they start to build a program that can be among the rich. You're right. Mm-hmm. It's easier. It seems like there's more of a trajectory to make more quote-unquote millionaires. I agree. The only thing, and I don't want to get bogged down too much in this, we have games to preview, but people are saying the past 2 years in the playoff, there's been 2 new teams each. If it holds currently.
Yeah, there have
Cincinnati
been
and Michigan last year, and then
TCU.
this year we're seeing 3 of the teams that everyone says that downplays college football: Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama. They're not going to make it.
But as it stands, those teams, when they get there, it is a great season. It's a banner. Hang a banner. They don't have a chance to win a game when they get there. Like they just don't. And that's why the gap between 1 and 5 is gigantic right now. And I'm hoping 2 or 3 years in this 12-team playoff brings a lot of teams up outside that top 5, and then you have 15 great teams in the year, not 3.
It's possible. No, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Because last year you had 2. You had Georgia and Alabama, and then this year, who knows how many we have? We think it might be 2, Georgia and Michigan. But buddy, let's me and you talk.
Yes, I love talking with you.
Isn't it fun?
Yes.
Men out there, me and Jack are going to talk to you for a second. Do you want a better sex life? Raise your hand. Who would say I want a worse sex life? Nobody.
Not any of my
even
friends.
if you have the best sex life in America, do you want a better one?
Yes.
Yeah, sure do. Up to 50% of men have symptoms that get in the way of wanting or enjoying sex. But Roman
is the best.
Roman is here to help. They are the THE, capital letters, the digital health clinic for men. Roman addresses a variety of sexual health needs for men, and they offer genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain a strong erection.
Yes, and we love strong.
Yeah.
We were just talking about strong teams.
It's erection season, boys and girls. It's bam, strong erections. Roman offers discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. 1, 2, 3,
You hear that? I'm
4.
clapping. I just stormed the field to last longer in bed.
Roman offers a testosterone test, which includes lab.
No.
I got it. Which includes lab processing. I'm just picturing you storming the field. Yay. Yay, erections. Roman offers a testosterone test, which includes lab processing and, if it's appropriate for you, treatment for low testosterone. This guy.
Yeah, so if they would send you a test.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do. You send it back.
I need the test.
And then we get that sorted out. And then if you are just happen to have low testosterone, they'll put you on a plan to get those levels up, which is why Roman is the best.
In men with low T, getting testosterone levels back to normal can help increase your libido. At Roman, there are no waiting rooms, no hassles. It's straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your home. If medication or testing is appropriate, Roman will send it directly to your door, discreetly, of course, with free 2-day shipping. So, to learn more about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals, go to ro.co/Walker today. That's ro.co/Walker today to get 20% off your entire first order. ro.co/Walker. All right. Now, before we get to the games themselves.
That was a great argument by us, by the way.
Mostly by me.
Well,
Playoff arguments are always fun because there's so many different opinions.
and we'll see. And guess what? I'm still excited no matter what.
And
Yeah.
Jack, you know what? The phrase that you just used, because we all use it in passing, has been a very big staple on the college football show. The "we'll see."
We'll
Because
see.
guess what? We will see.
No, it's
and
happening.
that's the best. That's
Yeah.
the best thing, regardless of what it is, whether you like it or not. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it doesn't work.
Now, we'll spend most of this December breaking down the 4-team playoff. But we're also going to spend this December watching probably the craziest transfer portal we've ever seen. NIL has changed what players expect, and they're going to be going all over this country. We've already seen the dam kind of breaking. We've got several quarterbacks that have already signed up for the transfer portal. Michigan's Cade McNamara. You have Jeff Sims from Georgia Tech, who started for 2 years for them. You have Brennan Armstrong from Virginia, entered it today. Kavasier Smoke, running back from Kentucky, very good. Hudson Card, Texas, who has started multiple years for them. And then Luke Altmaier from Ole Miss, Alex Padilla from Iowa. This is the beginning of a whirlwind college football month.
And that's why we've said so many times that you can have a great college football coach and they could be great at getting guys to translate from high school to college and have a winning team. But if you're not good at the transfer portal, that's going to be a huge knock against you.
I mean, look at the playoff we're talking about. Caleb Williams is about to win the Heisman. Caleb Williams is about to potentially go to the playoff. Caleb Williams was a transfer. Some of his best weapons, transfers. Like, that's where we live right now. We live in an era where if your team's not good right now, December 1st, 2022, that will mean dick January 1st, 2023, because you might have a whole new roster.
And the flip side, it can be true, unfortunately, as
You
well.
might lose some guys you
if
love.
you are a great recruiter and you are great going out and getting guys to sign for your team, and then your team doesn't have a good season, you're going to lose those guys in the transfer portal too. So it changes the game for both sides of the argument here. And coaches that don't want to adapt to that, as we've said, will see that you have to adapt or you're going to die in this sport.
And not to put you on blast, but College Station is probably the focal point of the transfer portal this year to see
Up
how
to
many
9.
how
Oh, I
many
can
of that.
imagine.
But a lot of those guys aren't good. Like there's been like 3 stars, like guys like Alabama loses a bunch of guys too.
There's also-
it's going to be overblown.
Yeah, there's also
There's-
a lot of
there's
the a lot of the guys that have entered so far haven't played at all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's
yeah, no, I
fine.
know. To you, I mean, I'm agreeing with you. So it's like, and I'm again,
But
I'm
what
not.
I'm saying to
And
you,
the big guys have confirmed they're staying too.
That is, yeah, a lot of them have confirmed.
all right, but a lot of Jimbo's hope in that program was built on the fact that he had
Yes.
the number 1 class in the country last year. If that class were to fall apart, the hope falls apart.
1,000%, and we're not taking that away. And there's a lot of things that could happen. However, it is going to be, and regardless if it's A&M or any other team that was in this exact same spot, guys are going to start to leave. It's like, look, A&M lost another one. A&M lost another one. As of December 1st, when we're sitting here recording, they've lost guys. They've not lost any guys that they have actually seen produce
Invested
on the field
in is
yet.
what you're saying.
Well, I don't.
Invested
You know
in.
what? I can't say that without a matter of fact of a doubt.
Okay.
Because I don't know, Brandon. I don't know if they've invested in any of these players. But what I do know is, invest in the ones that have left.
Okay.
That have or that are
There's
injured.
one significant one that left today, who was a top 75 recruit in the class of 2021, which is a tough loss. I don't know if he's lost any yet from the class of 2022. This year is the class of 2023, which, by the way, Texas A&M's not ranking great right now, and they're like
Well,
a top 20.
Imagine why.
We're going to have to figure out over the next 3 or 4 years how important high school recruiting stands up to
The transfer portal?
the transfer portal, because like Ole Miss is going to be an example. They're not going to they're going to have a top 30 class every year on high school, and then they're going to get a top 5 transfer portal class every year.
Also, you know what's
As
going
long as Lane's there.
what's going to start to get really sticky is like, when you look at classes, you're like, okay, well, the class of 2020 who's still on the roster was rated number 5, number 6. Well, then you also have to take into consideration some of those guys that added to
Yeah.
that rating are no longer there.
Yeah, you have
so
3
then
of
in
them left.
retrospect, so how do you do that? So it's like we can no longer look at classes and be like, well, that, top ranked class is now seniors. Well, are they? Because half of them may have left. It's going to be very, very sticky.
So I would like to announce right here on Unnecessary Roughness that I am willing to take your head coaching job. If you are in the MAC, I think I'd be a good MAC coach. Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, Western
Akron.
Pucky Ducky Tech, wherever you want me to go.
No, our boys at Akron.
Well,
That's
this was
right.
the list you did yesterday.
But yeah, so anywhere that wants me, I will go, because
Trent
that's
Dilfer,
apparently the
baby.
qualifications you need. Trent Dilfer is the new head coach of the University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers, and
Trent Dilfer played more football than you.
a little bit.
Just a little.
So it has been like a coach and
I
has
was coaching
ran-
high school.
Well,
Been
Brandon
coaching
wa-
high school.
Brandon did have a very good 7th grade year.
No. Wait. Yes. I was a great, promising tight end
I
of
heard-
the 7th
I
grade
heard-
West
I
Point
heard.
Greenway.
Number 88.
Secondly, has Trent Dilfer ever won 5 national championships in a row at
No.
Akron? Because I did that.
You're right. No, you're right.
I did that on NCAA 09, I believe. Had one of those rare dynasties that was so good, I kept playing 09 when 10 was out. I didn't even buy 10.
You didn't win a Super Bowl. People forget he was the Super Bowl starting
Yeah,
quarterback.
Hold on. Are you saying that I never won 7 straight Super Bowls with the Miami Dolphins on Madden? Is that what you're telling me? Because
Yeah,
I've won
no,
a
you're
bunch.
right. No,
I'm
you're
not.
right.
I'm probably.
Update the wiki.
But between NCAA and Madden, I've won every championship, every trophy there is to win. You're
Great.
telling me I can't coach?
MVP.
MVP, Rookie of the
Heisman.
Year, Heisman.
He did play in the league for like 13 years.
What league?
The NFL. The National Football League.
So, who cares? Look at his career highlights. Super Bowl champion. Oh, you just got one?
He threw more interceptions in an NFL career than touchdowns.
Pro Bowl?
Oh, shit, he did.
You just got one? Steve Largent Award? Oh, you just got one? First team All-American? Oh, you just did it one time? Come on.
He was the WAC Offensive Player of the Year in 1993.
How many do you have?
Huh? I never coached in the WAC.
I didn't know UAB fired their coach.
It was
it was quiet.
2 years ago. And there was like
Well,
an
that's
interim.
Bill Clark that left.
Well, it was an interim for an entire season, I think.
Yeah.
Was that this year?
No, I think he left like in the summer.
That's
It was
what
like
it
really,
was.
really
It was
soon.
very-
Bill Clark left this summer because he had health complications,
It was
and then they had
quiet.
an interim, like Katie said,
Yeah.
and then they didn't extend him and they gave it to Dilfer. That's what.
We'll see about Trent
How are
Dilfer.
you
He's been
not
coaching
getting
high.
more DILF jokes?
He's legitimately been coaching high school.
Are you not getting more DILF jokes?
There will be.
A lot of coaches that started in high school. Let's not be mean.
Well, it,
Go
Not
from
directly.
A lot of coaches start in high school. Very rarely does a coach go from a high school head coach to a college head coach.
But
Usually they stop as an assistant.
But
first.
it is
Yeah.
not to like downplay the UAB program, but it is UAB. It's not like he went out and got
It's a good
Power 5
program.
job. It's a good program, but it's I feel like a lot of times because it is very funny. It's like, oh, Trent Dilfer has been in the media for a while. It feels like people are using it to a certain degree the same way that they use the Jeff Saturday stuff. Jeff Saturday was crazy because he went from only coaching high school to being the interim coach in the NFL. Whereas, like, if Trent Dilfer was hired at Arizona State or Trent Dilfer was hired at, one of the bigger name programs, I feel like it'd be a bigger deal. I mean, whenever Herm Edwards was hired, that was a huge thing. It was like,
that was-
okay, well, Herm Edwards to Arizona State, what
That
are we
turned
doing
out
here?
well.
Trent Dilfer to UAB, it's like, all right,
we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Tom Herman looks like he's going to FAU.
I
We'll
love that.
see about that as well. So he's got a chance to revive his career and take the Lane Kiffin route, basically. Exactly the Lane Kiffin route.
And the reason I say I love
the one
it
that
is,
Willie Taggart failed at.
and Charlie Strong too.
All right, so yesterday we had it was a weird day. We had a crime wave in college football.
Very weird.
Crime wave hit college football.
I don't really want to talk about this
From
too
the
much
border.
because there's nothing joking. There's no joking matters with a couple of these. So you have Mickey Joseph, former Nebraska interim coach who didn't get the job, arrested at his home for domestic disturbance on
Terrible.
Wednesday.
Absolutely terrible.
Jalen Kitna, the son of former Bengals great John Kitna, arrested for child pornography
Disgusting.
charges. He played. He's quarterback at Florida, backup quarterback, and then Maisie Williams. Is it Maisie? Maisie? Am I saying it right? Maisie Williams, one of the co-captains of defense for Michigan, arrested on charges of carrying a weapon without carrying a concealed weapon without a license. Now,
A very delayed.
Maisie Williams, this one, Maisie Smith, not Maisie Williams. Maisie Smith, facing a felony weapons charge stemming from October 7th incident. He was pulled over in a car. He had a concealed weapon. He told him, and he was in the middle of getting his, this is what Michigan said today, he was in the middle of getting his concealed carry license, but he hadn't gotten it fully yet. So I think that, based on all that, he never missed a game. He didn't get suspended, and charges were filed yesterday, and it took almost 2 months for that to happen. I don't know that this is a criminal mastermind here. I think this is
The
just something that
timing
will.
from Michigan State fans, the timing of this to the incident.
Well, that's exactly. I'm glad you
Makes
said
sense,
that.
but
I'm glad you said
and
that.
before we get into that, this is the thing. If we're believing what is coming out from the reports today, it's not like he obtained this gun illegally. He obtained it legally, did everything he was supposed to do, and was pulled over just simply days before he was actually issued the concealed permit. If that is true, Michigan State fans are making a much bigger deal out of something than they should be. Now, if it's not true, different story. But the way Michigan State fans are dancing all over this is kind of bizarre to me.
They're acting like Jim Harbaugh is running a gang out of Ann Arbor, like he is a blood leader or a Crip leader. Like Jim Harbaugh is just leading this incredible gang of sophisticated felons, and no, this is a guy that went and bought a gun, didn't have the correct paperwork on him, and now probably has the correct paperwork. So Michigan State fans, have you seen this reaction? It's pretty desperate.
Yeah.
I've gotten a bunch of
I
DMs
think it's
about it
going
today.
to, yeah, people were really, they were saying I wasn't going to post it on our account. They said I was covering it up. I was in on the cover up. And then
Well,
I
you were,
posted
Jeff.
it.
You were.
And yeah, no, I mean, he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't take off his helmet and swing it at a police officer or another human being. Because they said they were in this like same proximate area at the
I'd
same
say
time
I'd
after
say
a football game.
A gun is more dangerous than a helmet, though.
Did he use it to harm anybody?
Well, he didn't. He didn't. I'm just saying.
I
Here-
would say, you
here's-
know what? They're both classified as
Weapons.
weapons that could kill somebody. So, anyways, he didn't use it. He, we'll see how it pans out from a perspective of the legal system. If he, I don't know. And then if there is some cover up from Jim Harbaugh or like the Michigan judicial system, because the judge that filed it went to Michigan, that Michigan State fans are all pointing out, then that will come out. that will be exposed, and you have to trust journalists.
Well, and that's where
Trust the journalists.
which is tough sometimes. If the details are coming out are true, where it was obtained legally, there's going to be an argument. We're not going to get
By the
into
way,
it
he
on
would
the
be
show.
getting a felony for an illegal weapon if it wasn't. So
it's
I think
so my
most-
thing is like,
hold on.
but here's the thing. It's like regardless of, and I'm not going on this rant, so don't think I'm going on this rant. Regardless of how you feel about gun control, if he was carrying a gun legally and just the record of him having a concealed weapon was legal, just hadn't gone through yet, those are two completely different things. And he just went out and bought illegally, had a gun, and was just carrying it around on a whim. Those are not the same thing. So if we are going to trust what we're being told, he did everything the correct way and just happened to get pulled over. And maybe Michigan knew that and said, okay, well, the paperwork is now filed. He is going to continue to play. If not, it is a different story.
I'd just like to point out that nobody trusts journalists more than my friend Jack McGuire. He is constantly telling me to trust the journalists, trust the journalism, trust them. Yes, you trust the media above all else.
Yes. And the signs.
It is weird though that Michigan State fans are holding on to this as
They're
hard
down
as they
bad.
are.
All right.
Down. Before we get to the slate, Brandon.
Yes, please.
The people that are listening to this, I would assume, like to be comfortable.
I bet they like to look good too.
They like to look good. They like to be comfortable, and look no further than our friends at Roback, because boy, is Roback comfortable, and boy, does it look good. You know, I was looking back at some photos.
Yeah.
The baby blue Roback that we have that's in collaboration with Barstool on the Barstool store made my eyes and your eyes pop.
Sexy.
Blue eyes popped, but they've got colors across the board. The hoodies are my favorite. I know the performance joggers are very popular. Of course, they've got the polos, the hats. They've got everything. The quarters. You love a good quarter zip.
I love a good quarter zip. I've been more of a hoodie guy this year because their hoodies are very, very, well, they're warm, but they're also very light.
A lot of times.
This hoodie I'm wearing right now is a little heavy. I don't like it, but their hoodies are very, very light and almost fluffy.
They're like cloud type, but they still keep you warm. Because a lot of the lightweight hoodies that you buy because you don't want to be bogged down, it doesn't actually keep you warm. These actually keep you warm. So if you're a football fan, you're on the golf course, whatever, or if you're just laying around, because again, those performance joggers, very comfortable. Roback has what you need, and it's functional, it's versatile. If you go to roback.com right now, Brandon, and use the code RUFF, you get a generous 20% off your first purchase through the end of this week. So Christmas is coming up, Hanukkah, whatever holiday season you choose to celebrate, you probably want to get something nice for somebody in your life, even if you're not celebrating anything. Get something for yourself. Go to roback.com. Use the code RUFF. That's RHOBACK.com. 20% off all polos, quarter zips, hoodies, joggers with the code RUFF.
Rough.
We love Roback and we love Ruff.
All right. Now, we move along to the games. This weekend we have conference championship games, and you got a bunch. You've got stuff like Toledo, Ohio. You have Coastal Carolina, Troy. You have Fresno State, Boise State. You got a lot. We are going to focus on pretty much the Power 5 ones here, the 5 major championship games, starting with Friday night, number 11 Utah against number 4 USC, 8 p.m. on Fox in Las Vegas. I just announced today it is sold out, so it will be a full house.
When you look at the Power 5 conference championship games in the recent past, since we've been doing this podcast, since we've been working together, since we've been at Barstool, usually the Pac-12 championship game is the least, I think, that I've cared about because they've been out of the college football playoff scenario. What's crazy is when you look at the 5 games that we're going to really look at, it's the game that has Clemson that people care about the least, because this Pac-12 championship is so massive, not only because the conference itself has been awesome all year because of the playoff implications, but to have it on Friday night, to have it as that sole game is so cool, and it makes it exciting again, which is why I want to say thank you, Pac-12, for making yourselves interesting again, because this game is going to rock.
Well, you should just thank Lincoln Riley, because he's what made the Pac-12 interesting again.
Dan has accused me many times of saying I have a crush on Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
I don't, but I think that I actually might subconsciously, because I love this team.
And it's not just him. If you look throughout this conference, outside of Chip Kelly at UCLA, it's all new coaches. Like
Dan Lanning?
Washington's 10-2 with Kalen DeBoer, new coach. Washington State had a good year, new coach. USC obviously with the new coach. So it's a conference that has had a hell of a year. It's just a shame they're going to be breaking up soon. The Oregon.
Dan Lanning.
Look at me in my green, my popping green. Here.
It makes your eyes even bluer.
Yeah, I've heard good things about the color of this. This was, who sent me this?
Yeah, Joe.
My boy, our boy Joe Moorhead.
Yeah, Fordham, now Akron. And he's gotten, they play tomorrow in a very weirdly scheduled game at 1 p.m.
They
1 p.m.
Buffalo.
By the way, they had a really bad year. They beat the shit out of Northern Illinois.
If you look at their season, it's the perfect first season as a coach.
Get better.
You're really bad, and then you start to lose only by like 7 to 4,
and then all of a sudden
you win. I think they may have a chance to beat Buffalo.
Why is
tomorrow.
it at 1?
Who knows?
Buffalo needs one more win to get bowl eligible, and they had their game canceled because of that snowstorm in Buffalo.
Gotcha.
So, but shout out Joe Moorhead. I think the Akron may be a very
live
good
dog?
Bet tomorrow.
Live dog here?
1 p.m.
All right. So
you know what? I don't hate a 1 p.m. Friday afternoon college football game. December 2nd.
I listen. Utah, USC. Utah obviously won the first game 43-42. This game has multiple things on the line for USC, not the least of which being the playoff and the Heisman Trophy. But, and I'll say this about TCU too. Everything about this game points toward USC in my mind. The revenge factor, the playoff factor, the Lincoln Riley factor, the Caleb Williams winning the Heisman factor. Everything screams USC. So why then is this line hovering between 2.5 and 3? Why won't it move, Jack? Because USC is going to be a public side.
But USC's not like their offense is elite, but
their defense is
their
garbage.
defense is just so bad, man.
Not
It's
good.
like anybody with a pulse can really score on them, and that's what Utah did. And also, man, I get it. Like the turnover luck that USC's had, I get there's some skill to it, but the margin of turnover they've had above everybody else in the country is just shocking. It's like statistically an anomaly. I don't know why.
Anomaly.
Anomaly. Whatever.
No, hold on. We're going to get the
Anomaly.
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 Anomaly. Anyways, all that being said, I know I messed up speaking.
Okay.
However,
It happens. I do it all the time.
if one ball doesn't bounce their way and it bounces Utah's way and finally the luck changes and then they can't really get a stop in the second half, it's 38-35 before you know it.
Well, let me ask this question. Let me ask it this way. USC's a 2.5-point favorite over Utah. TCU's a 2.5-point favorite over Kansas State. Who's more likely to lose their game?
USC.
I would say TCU.
I say TCU as well.
I think that I know it's lame to say. I think it's even.
They also
It's not. I don't think
They-
that it's like
if I had
yeah,
to
they
pick.
could both
It's
win.
1A,
They also
1B.
could both lose. Like this is
They're both going up against really good teams that
don't match up with them perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like these are two great games, and I mean, chances are, and this isn't that crazy of a thing to say, one of them is going to lose to one's on Friday, one's on Saturday.
this
but
weekend. Yeah, but I'm
excited for
But
it.
they're the first two conference championship games. There's this
Yeah, I
one.
know, it's awesome.
This
That's
one's
what I'm saying. It's
so
awesome.
3 o'clock on Saturday. We're gonna know how much chaos we're in for.
Yes, and then of course, barring something crazy happening, because even if Michigan loses in the Big Ten championship, which they won't, something crazy could happen. But my thing with this USC team, and Jack, you're 1,000% right when it comes to the turnover margin. There have been weird things that have bounced their way, but when you look at the USC-Utah game that we saw earlier in this season, the difference with that was a lot of things bounced Utah's way, and they still only won by 1 point. And this USC offense, while their defense can't stop anybody, I mean, they're allowing over 400 yards a game. That is not good. This USC offense is really hard to keep up with. And every time I start to make this argument, I go back to what happened against UCLA. And that game, instant classic in the Rose Bowl. DTR looked great. The thing is they just could not slow down USC's offense at all. I think, it was neck to neck. I don't see Utah's offense being able to do what UCLA's offense was able to do, and I see
Hold on now. Hold on. Let me just.
I don't think Cam Rising is DTR anymore.
Ooh.
Cam Rising is not.
Utah scored 43. UCLA scored 45. Like he
But
threw
s-
for 415
but-
yards.
But
Since-
his
but
next
since-
highs is 287.
Right, but since October 15th,
Okay.
Cam
It's
Rising has
wild.
not looked the same.
Yeah, but who did they play October 15th?
USC.
I mean, shit. That's who they played.
He did have that weird
No,
injury.
but it is just funny. Like I'm not even arguing with Casey, just pointing it out that
No,
he had
no,
4
no,
and 15.
fine. Okay,
and
guys.
then
I understand what you're saying. You're saying since that day, since October 15th, Rising hasn't been very good.
not even since, just that day.
I mean, he threw for 287 the week before. Like he was good. He was good against.
Comparable to 215, 415.
Oh, that was his best game. But that's who he's playing this weekend. That's who he's playing this weekend.
I would say again, I understand that I'm a UC or USC person, but
I'll go back
throughout the season, up until the USC game, or even after the USC game, because he obviously had a hell of a game. We were talking about how good Cam Rising was.
He is good.
He is good, but his numbers even after USC. I mean, look what he was doing earlier in the season versus
But
what he's done.
I think this is just a crazy thing to bring up. Like after USC, like he did this against USC. We know he can do this against USC. And I'd like to point out one other thing. Against Arizona, he passed for 151. They scored 45. 219 against Stanford. They scored 42. 234 against Colorado. They scored 63. Obviously, they lost to Oregon, who's a very, very good team. But like, this is not painting the picture of a team that needed Cam Rising to be this gigantic passing threat this year. They were still able to score points. And the one time he played USC was his best game of the year.
It was, and USC's
It was
defense.
everyone's best game of the year.
Yeah,
too.
USC's defense is not good. I'm
Jake
not making.
the plumber on California.
Yeah.
I'm not making the argument that USC's defense is worth a shit at all. What I am saying is that for this specific game, for what is happening on Friday night, I do not see Utah's offense being able to keep up with what we're seeing right now. I mean, Caleb Williams has won the Heisman in the last few weeks of the season. This offense is rolling. I mean, Notre Dame could do nothing against this offense. Notre Dame did more against Ohio State's offense than they did against USC's.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like UCLA scored 45 against UCLA, lost to them by 3 points, and they were right there with them. He's right. If they play on such a razor thin margin, and one ball bounces the other way, look out. They might be down in the fourth quarter, and then changes everything. So
It is true, but in that same game that we're talking about where they lost by 1, there were multiple balls that bounced Utah's way that potentially could not. And again, it was a one. I have no idea if Cam Rising is going to put up 415 yards on USC's defense. He obviously has the capability to do it. He's done it. But I'm looking at this USC offense and saying what they have been doing all season and they've gotten better at throughout the end of it. I mean, again, people thought Notre Dame was going to beat them. There was no chance Notre Dame could beat them. They couldn't slow them down. Can Utah's defense slow them down enough to keep up with them? I don't think so.
I do think so, and that's fine. We can disagree. I like disagreeing. Disagreeing is better than agreeing. So I think Utah can win this game. If I had to say which one I thought would lose, I would pick TCU. I think TCU is playing a team that plays a style that is the exact opposite of what I would want to see if I'm TCU.
Is
Kansas
it bad
State
that
can
I
run
think-
it down people's throats.
Is it bad that I just think both of them are going to win?
No, that's a perfectly valid point of
Like
view.
when you ask me like who I think is more likely to lose,
it's
splitting hairs.
My only thing about that, the reason I asked that question is USC's playing for everything.
Right.
TCU's playing for everything. TCU's 12-0. USC's 11-1. USC's got a Heisman winner. They're only 2.5-point favorites, both of them, and those are
the
tiny
games are crazy.
numbers.
They're going to be awesome.
And they're not moving. The fact that 80% of the public is going to be on USC and it's not moving, that might mean the books are getting what they want, and that is something to pay attention for in this game.
I completely agree. I'm excited for both of them. I think, and I don't know, I mean, it's a 50-50 chance they both win. I get that. But I just see the playoff chaos being pretty anticlimactic when it comes down to it, because I think both of these teams can win and will win. But would it surprise me if both of them lose? No.
TCU has a worse matchup for them, I think, because Kansas State again can run the football and really control the line of scrimmage and do some things that make
They haven't
TCU
been that great at running the ball this year.
make TCU uncomfortable. I mean, they're pretty good,
Like 16.
They've been better at throwing the
and
ball.
they've got home run potential. Okay.
I mean, also, since Will Howard took over for Adrian Martinez has played one game and they lost to Texas. Every other game, they've won with Will Howard as their starter.
So
that does, I mean, he came into the last time they played TCU, they lost that game.
yeah, I don't think there's any quarterback issues here for
No.
TCU this time. I think they won't have the quarterback excuse. That being for sure.
No, I mean they played Oklahoma State, Baylor, West Virginia,
Kansas
and Kansas,
And
but
that was
still,
Will Howard's first game. So there's no tape on him.
We'll see. We'll see. TCU has lived a very good life this year, and they've won a lot of close games. And
What is it? The
Hypnotoad.
Hypnotoad?
I don't know about.
You
all
don't
that.
like that?
If
It's
they
fine.
win, go check the TCU Barstool page with the shirts we have. Phenomenal.
Should've
Jack,
put
are you
those
gonna
out
wear
this-
are you gonna wear your helmet?
That was a fake gift.
Well,
All I've heard from TCU since the beginning is, "Oh, thank you so much for supporting us." They've sent me nothing, zero, nada. They sent me a fake helmet. They said they were going to send me a helmet. Yeah, guess where the helmet that I got gifted? They took it back.
They took it back?
Yeah, he took it back.
Why?
He wasn't.
TCU since day one.
That's not. It was Dawson's. I think there was a mix-up on
So
the.
then why did he give me a gift?
It was a placement. I think they're supposed to get one from Sunny Dykes. That's not on Dawson though.
So then it's on TCU.
That's
yeah,
what
but
he
not
was saying.
Dawson.
No, he said it was
Oh,
TCU.
sorry for offending Dawson. I've gotten nothing, and I'm very disappointed in TCU.
That's what I thought TCU was.
What
sending
he's
you a bunch
saying
of
is
gifts.
that his takes are for sale for anybody who sends him the
Well,
right stuff.
I mean, aren't
and
you?
I frankly find that appalling.
I know you do.
I can't believe that you sit here and would say good things about a team because they send you stuff. All right,
I
and we're talking about bad teams, not great organizations and great colleges like the
know.
University of Oregon.
I know,
All right,
I know.
we're talking about trash teams out there.
I know.
Unbelievable that you would do that.
We were sitting in the radio room before we came in to record, and Lauren, the college football producer, came in
Yeah.
and was like, "Oh, where'd you get that Oregon hoodie? That's a really nice hoodie." And he goes, "Pff, "Everybody sends me shit." And I was like, "Have
Nothing
a little
sends
bit of
me
chill."
Nothing.
Oh, but
UConn.
UConn sent us a great
Oh,
package.
well, of course, UConn. I mean, UConn's the best.
UConn
Did you
sent
get
us-
the Illinois package?
Yeah.
Chase Brown sweatshirt?
Yeah.
I want to try
Which
the
they-
maple syrup.
No, I got the syrup. I didn't get this.
Oh, you didn't get a sweatshirt?
I didn't get a
Somebody stole your sweatshirt.
That. Yep, somebody probably did.
These
Yeah.
y'all
Somebody stole you.
At least y'all got boxes.
It came with a.
I only got a box.
It came with syrup. It was a box with syrup and a sweatshirt in it.
Oh, my box. It
Th-
just had
It ju-
syrup.
We all
that
got the same
gigantic
box.
only had a tiny little syrup in it.
Chuck probably took it.
Somebody took your. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trent
somebody-
Trent
'cause
took
they're-
your sweater.
That's too bad. But shout out Illinois. Yeah, shout out Chase Brown, who should have been on first.
You can have mine, by the
Big
way.
Ten. No, I mean I love. Chase
I'll give you
Brown.
my Chase Brown sweater.
It doesn't fit him.
Maybe
What?
You gave it to me.
Oh, I'll take it back from her and give it to you if you want it.
it's no, it's
Sounds
hers.
about right.
He didn't. It didn't fit you right.
Unbelievable, Katie, that you're just looking for a handout. You're looking for free stuff.
I never.
It's ridiculous. No, can you believe
being
these people?
I know.
I would like it on record
Some
that I
teams
will
should
take
try
any
to get Noah's allegiance.
any free
by-
merch.
and send him.
UNC doesn't send merch.
What?
UNC doesn't send merch. They don't even send it to their NFL people.
Really?
That's the
Really?
that's like the boosters, like anything. At least last I heard, might change in the last
Did they
year.
at least give me a free class or something?
That was good. That was
African
good.
American history.
That was
No.
good. You know,
Triple AD.
A&M sent us a bunch of cool shit. Gave us those shoes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, A&M, yeah.
A&M, I did notice that people were pointing out that you were wearing your A&M sweatpants on the Egg Bowl
They're the
stream,
best
because they're
sweatpants.
the best.
They're the best sweatpants.
They're the best.
Um,
I will take any free shit.
Is that yours?
Yeah, I just signed
I
it.
got
better?
a Hudson, an Old Dominion Hudson. You know, the cute little
Oh, that's
puppy.
awesome.
I got a big shirt.
Why are we talking about the free stuff we get?
What's better,
Because
the
the helmet.
They gave me a fake helmet. They were like, "Here's a helmet." Dawson's like, "Here's a helmet," and then he took it back. It's upstairs on his desk.
Because TCU lied to you.
And then he kept telling me, "I'm gonna get you a shirt. I'm gonna get you a shirt." The man goes to TCU every weekend.
All right. So outside of those two, which are the frame setters, and they're the most important games of the weekend,
what's everyone's official?
I'm taking TCU.
I don't have a prediction. I just kind of I do think prediction wise, I
prediction.
will say that I think one of these teams will lose, and if I had to pick one of them, I think TCU is the most vulnerable.
I think TCU is going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game. I do not think they're going to blow them out. I love Max Duggan. I love this offense. The same shit I've been saying.
Chris Kleiman's a hell of a coach, man.
He is. He is.
And you give him a second shot at somebody.
And Kansas State too. And I know we're catching L's on the timeline because I don't know, at some point in like the spring it was tweeted. That was a weird thing people are
It
going
was like
back
a
to.
joke. It's
Yeah.
like these people, like it's like they're never on the internet. Adrian Martinez said this is the most talented team I've ever been a part of, right? And before the season this year, and I was like, oh, Kansas State 4-8 incoming. That was more of a joke about Nebraska than Kansas State, and they're all like, take your L, Jack Mac. Okay, yeah, we tweet out things and they're funny, and then they sometimes turn out not to be true.
I mean, Jack,
Grow up.
When you look at the Big 12 preview, outside of, I understand none of us got the conference championship right, but you were
All
closest.
my previews are. I just had an amazing year.
I had number 2 with Kansas State.
He's
got
but you don't
TCU
have
as a
him in
top
there
2 team. He's got
in the
most
top 2
disappointed
teams.
team Baylor. He's got most underrated team TCU. He's got
I was saying second.
Coach of the Year Sonny Dykes. He has TCU winning the Big 12. Jack nailed that one.
Yeah, Jack nailed. I have Kansas State in
He's
the
Texas.
in the conference
I had
championship.
Texas winning, unfortunately.
But TCU number 2.
So how did
which
you?
is the
Oh,
same.
biggest upset. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And that did happen.
Well, yeah, that turned out to not be an upset at all. Oklahoma fans aren't even on Twitter anymore. Like, they don't even tweet mean things at you anymore.
gone.
They're gone.
They,
Yeah,
they
they
don't
just
tweet
left.
mean things at anybody.
They
That's
just
just
left.
crazy.
All right. So
Well, they might. We just don't see
we
it.
got to get out of here. But the other 3 championship games: Michigan, Purdue, 17.5-point favorite; Clemson, North Carolina, Clemson 7.5-point favorite, and
Jeff Brom is 2 or 3-0 against AP top 3 teams in his career. At
Really?
Purdue. Could it? Is there a chance?
No.
yes,
Would it matter?
No.
Okay.
You think there's actually a chance?
How much
he says there's a chance.
I asked.
How
if
much
there's
What
does
if there's a
Michigan need
2%
to-
chance, and then yes, there's a chance.
How
there's
much does
always a
Michigan
chance.
need to lose by to be out of the playoffs?
No, they
No,
can't be
I
out of the
don't
playoff.
think they
I
can.
do not think they can be out of the playoff. I just
100.
12-0 Big Ten or Big 12-0 in the Big Ten with a win over Ohio State, a win over Penn State. Like they're
Purdue's just not very good.
I
I don't
feel-
even know how that would beat them. Their pass offense turned out to be nothing.
well,
this
Michigan
year.
has to. It has to be like a 13-10 game. Michigan's offense has
to be the
completely-
Illinois game.
They have to completely no-show
And
it.
Blake Corum is out for the season, as we saw against Ohio State. That does not matter. This game screams to me exactly what happened last year, which happens a lot in the Big Ten because the Big Ten West is just not anywhere near as good as the Big Ten East. But Michigan beat Iowa last year, I believe, 42-3 in the Big Ten championship. That's what this game seems like is going to be to me. I don't know if it'll be exactly that bad, but it's like,
I think-
even if it starts out slow, it just seems to me that it's just the divisions are so lopsided.
I think Purdue's built to not get that embarrassed because, they can throw it, they can score, they can. Aiden O'Connell can play, whereas Iowa was just nothing. They couldn't move the ball at all. LSU, Georgia. Anybody think LSU's got a chance to win that one still?
Well, you had a great tweet last week, which is the greatest way to sum up this game, which is when you think LSU's dead, they're not.
Right.
When you think they're amazing, they're not.
They're dead. Yeah.
So
and
does that mean that in said hypothetical scenario that actually came true, that because they lost to
Yes.
A&M,
That they'll now play well.
yeah,
I mean, they're in
Could you
position
see them-
to. This is a spot where they would surprise you. I just think Georgia gets bored and Georgia mails it in against some teams. And in Atlanta for the SEC, they will not mail it in here. I don't think they'll kill them like 38-0, but I think they'll beat them
Do they cover?
27-10 or something like
I
that.
think they could kill them.
do you think they cover?
I
what,
wouldn't bet it. I'm not going to
17.5?
bet it. I'm not going to bet Georgia to cover. I do think they keep this game under 51 though.
It is a weird, and you talk about the difference in college football and other sports. It is a very weird thing with college football teams like this specific LSU team. It's like when they play really bad, then they usually play really good the following week, and you're like, who is this team? Do you think no, Georgia fans are they should be very high. Why would they not be? They won the national title. They're the number 1 team. They're a lot of people's favorites. I would almost be, if I was a Georgia fan, I would almost be way more nervous for this game because of how they played in College Station. If they would have killed A&M like most people thought that they would, be like, all right, well, whatever. Like it's
I don't think
status
Georgia
quo.
has nervous in their vocabulary right now. Georgia
And you
fans.
probably shouldn't. I do think that there is something that plays into that. It's like they got, for lack of better terms, I know the game wasn't that out of control, but they were embarrassed in College Station by a team that's not going to a bowl game.
All right,
That could scare some people.
we're going to get out of here. One thing I want to circle back
Georgia
to
will kill
is
them.
this just came up in my mind right now. Everybody who's in love with the current system of college football and loves the 14 playoff and doesn't want it to change, we have 5 Power 5 championship games this week. 3 of them don't matter at all.
At all.
At all. After 3 o'clock on Saturday, you can turn off college football and not miss anything. I'm not going to do that. I don't suggest you do that, but that is a reality.
Well, it sucks that Clemson, North Carolina, which, by the way, from a color game standpoint, is going to be fucking awesome. It's
gonna be beautiful.
It's going to be
It's
beautiful.
Color Rush.
It is Color Rush for sure.
At least
Love
we
that.
are.
So
think.
orange against blue?
Carolina Blue, yeah.
it's gonna look.
Wait, you can't just say blue?
No,
Carolina blue.
it's
No,
Carolina.
I know it's Carolina blue, but obviously I'm talking
no.
about North Carolina, and I say they're going to wear their blue.
Well, they have a
No,
different blue.
they have a different blue. It's
Right?
Carolina blue. It's like Tiffany blue.
It's just a side comment. I wasn't really thinking about it.
No,
Just
but
Carolina
I
blue.
just thought that was funny.
Yeah, okay.
That's a funny correction to make of somebody.
No,
Are
no,
y'all
I
wearing-
like- I
are
would
y'all
That's the
wearing
thing when
blue?
people are like, oh, baby, I think that's the only time I've gotten in New Mix with Pat 40. He was like, oh, it's sky blue. Like, He was like, that's elitist and like, not, or, what's,
Didn't his son swim at North Carolina?
Oh,
Stanford women's
Oh.
swimming.
and guess what?
No, his son. His son didn't swim for the women's team at Stanford.
Though his kid, I know, is a Stanford swimmer. That's
Pat
all.
40's obsessed with swimming, and
His
he
daughter
has a
swims.
vendetta against UConn because they got rid of swimming.
boy.
And fuck you, Pat 40.
Oh, boy.
Sorry that your little swimming team wasn't as great. It's not at UConn
Yeah,
anymore.
he was like, it's elitist calling it Carolina blue. I'm like, that's the point.
But that's
He's
the
an
point.
elitist.
I will say, if I went to a school that had a great enough color that you put your name in front of it, I would call it that every time. Like, think about Tiffany blue. It's not just blue; it's Tiffany blue. However, that
What the fuck is Tiffany blue?
you know what
Tiffany.
Tiffany blue.
Tiffany, the jewelry place.
He's not an elitist.
Why
like
would
you
I know
guys.
what Tiffany blue is?
But you know
better step
the
up your
jewelry
shit.
company Tiffany's?
I understand what you guys are telling to me. I'm not an idiot. I didn't know Tiffany had their own blue.
They do.
Noah's been holding that baseball the whole time. Like I was always.
He's ready to
Yeah,
Barbie
he's ready to
has them,
throw
like,
throw
it.
it around the horn. All right.
Like that Tiffany blue doesn't register to you.
Nothing.
You should. You know what we should do for your wife for Christmas?
Get some Tiffany.
Well, you should. I will just go with you. I'll go to the Tiffany store with you.
We're going to have to go next week.
That's fine.
about
I'll
time
go
for
to
Christmas shop.
anytime to go to Tiffany. I'll go. I love Tiffany.
All right. But
The-
can we act like that's my baby again?
do you think that helped last time?
Probably not.
Probably
Still
not. Although,
funny.
but the Tiffany store that I like to go to is like 6 floors.
The Tiffany store that I like to go to is what she just said.
Yeah, there's a bunch, but the flagship store is like
Wow.
it's very. Anyways, the point is Clemson, North Carolina, from a standpoint of like the game itself in a vacuum is going to be cool. The fact that it just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things sucks. But guess when it would matter, Brandon?
12-team playoff.
12-team playoff.
No, it
because-
would have mattered if Clemson wasn't a fucking loser and didn't lose to South Carolina.
That's a fair point.
It is a fair point.
Like this, and also it would matter even more if North Carolina didn't lose to NC State.
You know, it definitely would. But I also think that Clemson's
We're
not playing.
rewarding
It's,
mediocrity.
it's not mediocrity.
It's not mediocrity.
Going 10-2 isn't mediocre.
And Drake May is not mediocre either.
He's played like it
And,
recently.
but like Drake May is the best quarterback Clemson will have seen all year. That's going to be an awesome game, and it doesn't matter.
Yes, because Clemson couldn't beat Spencer Rattler and.
Okay, we're getting back into the arguments. We gotta go. Yes.
Katie, are you
fair point?
How do you feel about this?
Why?
Huh? How do you feel about our game?
Let's go on. What to talk about? Let's move on.
No, it's okay. You can say what you feel about North
I
We have
Carolina.
to get. We're literally short on time. It's 5:30. We gotta go.
Okay, we gotta go. All right. It's unnecessary roughness. Bye.